would you please join me on the stage? Our playwright. By way of introduction, that's yours, and this is mine. I want to read a short professional biography. Everybody has to know a little bit about you. Barbara Bennion was a dancer, a choreographer, and a teacher for many years before turning to playwriting. After performing with the Martha Graham Dance Company, she went on to teach at the University of Colorado, Marymount College, and the American Dance Festival. Her plays have been seen in Boston at the Playwrights Platform and in New York City at City College and the Elizabeth Black Box. She's a member of the Dramatists Guild and the Hudson Valley Writers Center. So that's the basic facts. I'm very interested to know why, after a career as a dancer, a dance teacher and choreographer, you turned to playwriting. How did that happen and why?
Well, I love the arts, and I was 55 and living in a new place. I moved to Boston, and I decided to teach my brain, my mouth, my writing skills, what I thought I'd known from my feet, because it was the arts, and I was transferring what I knew from choreography to writing. It was a long journey. I took a lot of courses at Harvard and playwriting teachers, and it's a long journey, as you know.
And how do you think your background as a dancer has influenced your writing? How do we see it in the script? Do we feel it?
Well, I do see things in terms of movement. I think my personal life influences it because I like to listen to people's stories. And so I start with character. Plot is the most typical. I've written 3 plays, and only one of them had what you would call a traditional kind of plot. There's a choreography, you just see the stage, and you see, it's like a painting or a piece of music. And that's what I learned from Martha Graham and from all the other teachers I had along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly felt the movement in the way this was put together. Now, how did you come to write Flowers Behind the Mountain?
Well, my daughter married an undocumented Mexican guy who came over illegally, and he told me the truth. I asked him how he got here and how he felt about it, and he told me, and I was so excited that he would reveal all this to me, and I was excited about his courage, and it made me think, well, what would I do in his place? What would any of us do if we were in his shoes? So much of the story here is his story. So it's taken years to finalize. It's really not finished, I don't think, the play, but I began collecting other people's stories. ESL students of mine, neighbors, taxi drivers. I love to talk to taxi drivers. So almost every word in the play came out of some Latino's mouth, because I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't even speak Spanish.
So you talk to people, you interview people,
Oh, yeah.
in some senses about
yeah, twice I had formal interviews. The others were more just informal.
And how long have you been working on this play?
Oh, 10 or 15 years.
How did it start, and what's changed over those 10 or 15 years?
Well, it started as 5 monologues, and we had a co-reading in my house in Tarrytown, and there was an actor there that was reading, and she said, you could turn this into dialogue. So I gradually did that. Other things, it's very small details, and I keep reading the newspapers and trying to make it more contemporary.
Could you tell us something about your other plays?
Well, the first play was more abstract than this one. I don't think it was very good, but it did get on a stage reading. It was about schizophrenia, the main character was a schizophrenic. I had a voice coming from the off stage. That was difficult. The second one was about a Mormon polygamy in 1876, and I did a lot of research on that. And that was more traditional style. And we did a couple of stage readings for that. But it's very hard, as you all know, to get a play produced.
Yes, we do.
You know she's Mormon, but
Quick question. What drew you to a play about
Indians are Mormon family.
Well, because
She was.
my relatives are Mormons.
Yes, it's just
But I'm not, I hate to say this in front of anybody, I'm not I don't go to church and I'm not a believer.
Okay. Wow. The schizophrenic play.
Well, I have a relative who's schizophrenic, so I've been in a lot of institutions, unfortunately.
Yeah. So things in your life.
Yeah.
Are you working on anything now?
Yeah. I pick heavy subjects. I was starting to work on something about hospice. So, I don't know whether I'll get an audience for that. I'm trying to make it funny.
Thank you so much for submitting your play and allowing us to present it to the world, even in this reading form. And let's hear it again for our playwright.
And before we continue this conversation informally over a glass of wine in the lobby, which is all awaiting you, I have a couple things I want to ask you to do. One, come to the next 3 readings of our winners, Monday nights at 7 o'clock. 2, help us get the word out about the contest. If you know any political playwrights, there's a sheet out in the lobby with all the information. It's also on the website. And the deadline for 2013 is October 1st. And last, but certainly not least, at Castillo, we produce theater for the whole city. So in addition to the productions you'll see on our stages, we produce one of the country's leading youth development programs, the All-Stars Talent Show Tour. Each year, thousands of young people produce and perform in talent shows in their neighborhoods. All of our programs, all of our productions are privately funded from donations by people like you and me. As you leave the theater, you'll see some of our volunteers with baskets. Please give generously and support the growth of our young people. And thank you once again for coming. We'll see you in the lobby.